Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jason, and this is the second part of the video to rebuild that Ross steering box we had out of that LGT 125. So this segment here, this beginning of this second video, was filmed after the fact that the tractor was put back together. I lost some footage and some audio and stuff like that. So we're just patching and piecing as we go along. So on that note, I hope you're enjoying the videos. If you are, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button. And again, if you have any questions or questions, you can leave them in the comments below or hit me up with my email, FordJacobsonTractor@outlook.com. And I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, because I probably won't see you guys again until after the holidays are over. We'll be pretty busy here with the holidays coming up, and it's also hunting season here in western Pennsylvania, so I got to get out in the tree stand as well. So on that note, enjoy the rest of this video, and I want you guys to thank you guys for tuning in and watching, and keep your stick on the ice. We'll see you on the next.
So we get to unbolt the bracket. Light. So we can see what exactly I'm messing up. Great.
Okay, now that noisy air compressor shut off, I was trying to get this out, and it's still no bueno. So I'm going to have to end up pulling that dash out. It's just going to make it easier for a reinstall, so I'm not fighting. I know I could get it out if I just remove the angle bracket on the column, but I'm still going to have to remove the dash to put it back together anyhow. So we're just going to do it right, step by step. And just, yeah, whatever. How's that? That's my fault. So, and you're asking why I'm wearing the rubber gloves. I like these black rubber gloves. They're heavier than the blue. They don't rip as easy. It makes it easier to wash my hands. I've been in and out of the house all day. I'm playing Mr. Mom today as well, folding laundry and all that good stuff. So it just makes it easier to go in there and swap clothes around out of the washer, dryer, all that good stuff. Where is my hazard stuff? The biggest part I have is I'll be in the middle of something, and I forget where I put the stuff, and I gotta go find the stuff. And it's usually right where I left it. Now, the problem with removing it, you're gonna have to remove the clip off the throttle linkage. You're gonna need a little. Pair of needle nose pliers. I'll show you here in a second. It's on the throttle. You only have to remove the one, which makes life easy. So. I got it zoomed in, but it may be a little blurry, and I don't want to get my big head in the way. But there's this little E-clip right here. That's all you have to do. It's very easy. Just the hardest thing about the removing the E-clip is this little guy is misplacing it. That's the hardest part. It pulls right out, nice and easy. Like I said. I do have them for sale if anybody needs.
I don't know. I think I sell them as a set of 5 for every. And it comes with all of them. It's got like I know on these hard linkages there's like 3 or 4. I give you an extra one. I think one for the top throttle on the carburetor too has one. So I think you get like a set of 5 for like $8 or something. I'm not sure. I'd have to look. Or you could just go to a hardware store. That works too. So there's 5. Well, should be 5 bolts on this. There's 4 on this one. And I'm not going to worry. Hopefully I don't have to worry about the wiring. Usually, hopefully there's enough slack in it that I can just get this out of the way. It don't need much. And it's been a while since I did a complete column change out on one. It's been about 2 years. But when I take tractors apart for parts, I usually part the whole thing out from top to bottom. So that dash is already off, regardless. Oh, I also wanted to show you. This is December 1st, I do believe today. This rifle season in Pennsylvania. Well, folks, I learned something very new today. That is really freaking cool. Well, somebody fixed this column. That is ingenious. So they drilled that out, tapped it, and made a whole new bolt. Unreal. So you know that's probably, I don't know if it's a hardened bolt or not, but oh boy. Well, it works. I'm impressed. I wanted to zip the nuts off of that so I could reuse it. That is really, that's something there. Wow. I still got to get these nuts off because that's how you adjust your end play. Wow. I wasn't expecting that. I'm like, why is this thing, when I started backing it off, I was like, why is this thing broke? I said, it can't be broke. It worked. So here I am. That is impressive. I'm all about that. I like that. I like that a lot. Somebody was using their noodle because you can't weld them. The original piece back to it, but I guess you sure can machine them like that. I guess you can machine them.
Interesting. So basically, somebody was into this column too, and it doesn't surprise me. I'm actually more competent over this repair than putting in a used one that may break in a month to 40 years. Who knows? This is definitely. I'm more happy with this. So. Read everything, put in a pressure parts washer, which I don't have, which is going to have to go to work, and I'll have to borrow Works pressure washer. Or I could do it the old-fashioned way, put it in a bucket full of simple green and degreaser, which is where the other columns are already sitting. So that's probably going to be it for today. We'll pick back up on the same video at a later date and time. So stay tuned, folks. Thank you. Okay, let's try this again. I got the column device. On this side, there's a hole through your case, through your housing. There's a little wee garter pin. And this cap unspins. Screwdriver. It's like it also works like a castle nut with all your slots in it, so your garter pin can hold it into place, lock it into place, and that's how you actually tighten that up, and you set your bearing pressure, so to speak, on it. And here's his bearings, which we're gonna. Oh yeah, I figured they'd fall apart. So yeah, we took the bearings out. We're gonna clean this shaft up, and we're gonna inspect. I want to inspect the worm gear on it. Actually, that's the thing. You can't get these no more, and I've had good luck with filing them down the sharp edges if they break or whatever, cleaning them up. Now this one looks really good. Woo! So I think we're just going to put that cross shaft in his, because these edges are not torn up at all, and I wasn't expecting it when I seen that the drift pin, the cam follower. The cam follower is that little pin I showed you earlier. So if you could see, these edges look really good. There's no chunks, no bites, no nothing taken out of them. So all that grindy I was hearing and feeling was more than likely just them bearings. And now after I look at them bearings, what happens is these are plastic races. And after being 50 years old or whatever, they just sort of, they deteriorate. So that's probably what it is. So that's one thing. I'm very happy with that. And we're going to end up putting new bearings all in here. And I do have bearings and races for these columns, as well as a power steering kit, I call it, manual power steering kit, because it's a set of roller bearings we put in on them, and I'll do that for him too. I'm already got it apart. This way it puts less friction on the plate, and once we get this all put back together, after this is all cleaned up, I'll show you step by step of what I'm talking about as far as those bearings. So, got it apart. I'm happy. I'm going to put his back together. New bearings. Just put that cross shaft back in it. I know his tube is a little boogered up, but remember it has that John Deere wheel on it, and I'm trying to save him money. So I am going to put that all back, because if I put this column back on, then I'm going to have to put in a different style wheel on it. I may have another wheel, but to put that John Deere wheel back on may interfere, because this one looks like it was cut and modified. So we're just going to put it back together. That's why I see it's actually not split. It's actually grinder cut-off wheels. So apparently someone modified this one, made it probably a little shorter is what I'm going to assume. So we're just going to leave well enough alone. He ain't restored it. He just wants to go plow snow this winter, so we're not going to. I don't think he cares too much. He actually was starting it without a choke lever for how long. I don't think he's too particular.
I think he just wants a good run on the machine when it's done. So we'll put this in the parts bath and get that cleaned up, and we'll start reassembly. Alright guys, we got our column cleaned up. I ended up just doing a hillbilly parts washer, you know, simple grin in a 5-gallon bucket, because I didn't want to have to wait to go to work and bring it back and prolong it. So I just decided to bite the bullet, and that's what we're going to do. So the first thing we're going to do, after it's all cleaned up, we'll put some grease down in here. Just any type of axle grease is fine. This ain't high speed, it ain't going to be hot. Put some grease on my bearings. And this is another reason why I wear them black rubber gloves. Okay. Alright, so get that all greased up. Sorry, I was off camera. Put this guy down in here like that. Put your race down. I take some more grease. Spooge that guy on this side. In fact, we could just do the whole thing. Put all new grease down along this. It ain't going to hurt a thing. We'll still grease it after we'll still put there's grease fitting on these, and we'll still do that too. But we're going to ensure that we get a sufficient amount of grease. Right. Uh-oh. So I'm happy with that. Huh. That's odd. That should go down in there. There we go. Plastic's just a little bit off on the... There we go. Make sure all my bearings are back in the spot. Okay, so... There we go. Make sure that was... That doesn't go down there. That's not the way it come out of there. Uh-huh. Alright. Technical difficulties, folks, but we're working on it. I promise you that. I promise you. Make sure that thing goes back up in the way it's supposed to. Okay. The plastic grease, now it's all covered in grease and you ain't going to be able to see it, but I'll explain it to you on... Hold on. There we go. Now it sits in there. Okay. When you push those in, you had these balls were going to move out, and that's what it was. It was getting hung up. It wasn't sitting down in there all the way, because you want that to... This is the way it should sit in there, right? Got your race, grease, and your ball bearings, right? Well, these ball bearings on this side sits on the tapered part of the steering column. So, the ball bearings actually are up against that nice and kosher like they're supposed to be. But it was a little snug with the balls being in the way. So I wanted to work it on the shaft instead of forcing it down in there and then the balls coming out of each individual little socket. So that was the hold up there. So no worries, no worries. You would think if a guy who has a video and knows how to do this stuff would know how to do this stuff. Same thing with these, just push it down around, make sure you don't lose any of your balls. Grease, 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 grease. Can't say that enough, grease. Put your cap on there. Okay, now that's spinny, spinny. Now you're going to get your cap. I always put a dab of grease in here as well, in your cap. So that's how you put the bearings in. Now this column does wiggle, so when you go to start this, that right here, this part here, this nub sits inside that hole there. Then we can adjust a preload on these, which ain't much, because remember, it's a plastic race, it's a steering column. These ain't wheel bearings. So we don't have to get all He-Man-y on these, you know what I'm saying? You don't need too many ooga-doogas for this. Wipe some of the grease off so I can grab a screwdriver. There we go. And then we'll tighten this guy up snug. And the problem is, we're going to put the steering wheel back on. Loosely. And then we could really, because adjusting this is nice, and you could feel, you don't want it tight where it doesn't turn by hand, but you don't want it loose either. You want it where it works. You want the bearings to work like they're supposed to be intended. Spin it around a couple times. Actually, this one's working out really good. Alright. Okay. We will adjust a preload and we will put that guy back in there. But we're not going to adjust nothing just quite yet. We're not going to tighten anything up just quite yet. We're going to want to put that awesome piece that whoever decided to fix. We're going to put this all together first, then we'll put it back in there. And this one isn't a bad cam follower at all, but this one, the one that was originally in the column is a lot better. I do believe somebody was in this one already, for sure. So that's what we're going to do, is put the better one in. So to do that, 13/16 wrench, maybe, she's in there. It's supposed to break out loose here. There we go. Now the problem is, it goes the other way. So naturally, that ain't no bueno. So I don't know if it's gonna be nice or fight me. So you probably have to wind it all the way out till it stops. Because remember, it's tapered. Hopefully we get the nut off. Or we may end up using this one. I don't know. Yeah, she ain't happy. I don't want to end up
stripping that out. So we're going to end up having to get some oil on there and see if we can't get that worked loose. Okay, so we ended up cutting that cam follower out of there because if you try too many Ooga Doogas back, to back it off, you'll split this embossed, and yeah, then you're up a shit creek without a paddle, because then the whole point is you're trying to save these cross shafts, not destroy them. So with that being said, we're ready to put the new in, but we're going to tighten this shaft up first. We'll double nut this guy and get her snug. Go. I don't want to put too much on that as well. Get her nice and snug. One Ooga Dooga should be fine. I don't know. I've never seen this before. I'm still impressed with this whole ingenuity of this person who did this. I'm digging it. So your cam follower, like I said, ours looks pretty good. It's not. I've seen them a lot worse. Where I don't know if you can see it. It's got a couple shiny spots on it, but it's not to the point where I would be worried about changing it. You could, if you really wanted to get in there, it's pretty smooth. There's no sharp edges on them, and that rides. Well, too much grease, but that rides in here. And as this turns, as that shaft, your steering wheel turns, that worm gear, this turns this will follow up and down. That's your cam follower, and it then turns this shaft, which then turns all your steering components on the outside. So these go from the inside out, and then the nut goes on the outside. So like I said, somebody was definitely in here before. Not a big deal. I've seen it many times. I'm glad this one was done up nice. On both tractors, I should say. Both columns. Somebody was in here. And I'm okay with that. But again, we're going to take this guy and put him all the way out. And I'll show you what I mean. We're going to run him out a lot farther than what he was intended. And then I'll show you how we run this cam follower into the... we'll actually run the cam follower in. We'll make our adjustments. This is our locking nut for that. So we're good there. Our gasket was good. Like I said, I do believe. Sorry, folks. Camera died there. Didn't you know how that is? Story of my life. So anyhow, got our cam follower or our cross shaft and cam follower in where it needs to be. We're going to put our half-assembled steering column back in here, and you don't want to put your device on the tube. You want to put it on the aluminum, and then there we go. So you're going to lube this guy up, lube everything up. Ain't gonna hurt nothing. Put your gasket and your plate on. Goes right there. Just put it on this side so you guys can see it. There we go. It just sits in there. It just sits in there. There's nothing. In fact, what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of grease to hold the gasket in place, thin layer. And you put your gasket in there. It's really just to keep any grease from puking out. And then I put another layer right here, because remember it's sort of open. That plate, this plate is literally resting on there. So, but anyhow, yeah, it's time. Yeah, it ain't very intricate. So anyhow,
You've got your little hole. Your cam follower goes right inside one of your vanes on your worm drive. So, like I said, I didn't want to get too crazy yet. So, first thing I want to do next is I want to put a washer. These are my thrust bearings that I was selling. Still got a couple. Here's the thrust bearing itself. The first one was a washer. Put some grease on that guy. And now you can put your double nuts on. Now, being that this gentleman built a different type of shaft, the stock shaft, you could get away with just the lock nuts would take up every bit of the thread and then hang over when they were ready, or when it was set to the preload. These, I got plenty of thread, so whoever designed this, wherever you're at out there in the world, thank you. This is freaking impressive. I am so happy. I almost should have kept this one for myself, but mine aren't broken. So, but when mine do break, and I said when, not if, I'm going to be coming up with this idea. Now, we're going to take so we got everything loosely assembled, correct? So we got the nuts. In fact, I want to take that outside nut back so it doesn't get hung up. Then I'm going to wind this nut in. Now, I'm going to wind my cam follower in until it stops. Okay, it stops. Back it off a little bit. Now, here's where it's going to get a little interesting, because we got to sort of get the steering wheel on there. Try to show this to you the best I can. So we can get all the adjustments correct. So you got 3 different adjustments on this. You're going to have your cap yet for your column that needs your preload set. Now these bearings will need a preload set, and then your cam follower. And I can't get all 3 in on the set and on the camera because that's just what it is. So let me grab that steering wheel, and we'll start adjusting this column. Now this steering wheel does not have to be snug. Just put it on there until it grabs the thread so you can turn it. And it can fall back off for all I care. Okay, so that feels really good right there. So the first thing you're going to want to do is tighten this guy up right there. And remember, you don't want play in any of this. But you don't want it so tight either. And you don't want to do too much... Alright, so I'm pretty psyched about that. We'll give it a couple spins. It ain't going to hurt nothing. It's going to go one way all the way and then back. That helps to move the grease in there. And then you can check it again. And what you're feeling for is, and there's no instruction manual on this. This is just all from me, from experience. You don't want to feel no bearings drag, but you want it to be tight but not too tight where you can't turn it. So that seems pretty good to me. Now you can always adjust it. Now, and look, it lines up pretty much right where it needs to be with this too, with our little Carter pin here. Tongue tied, folks. I'm tongue tied. It pops right in there. Bend that down.
Now that's good. Now we can start adjusting this. Now this has a bearing. Normally, factory that doesn't have that bearing in there. We put it in because that helps with the overall drag on it. Friction is not good, right? Friction doesn't help things. So, see, now it's a little too tight. You want just enough where it's tight and there's no play in this, because a lot of these Fords have like you'll buy them, they got a 1/4 inch of play. Now you can get away with turning that cam follower, but more than likely it's probably worn out, but you can do it. I've done it. And there's the phone, so we're going to have to stop the video and answer. Alright, sorry about that. Sometimes you just got to take phone calls. So anyhow, where was I? I've got that set up. This is set up. We can double check this. Make sure I'm good. See how it gets tight right there. So we want to back this off a little bit so it turns. Also, in the same instance, you want to back this cam follower off a little bit too, so it's nice and smooth. So you got to play with these back and forth. I want to tighten this up. Yep. Because you don't. What will happen is you'll get a tight spot, usually on the crown. That is actually nice and smooth all the way. Maybe we can just give it a little bit. Because you don't want to get a tight spot. So you can check this cam follower and you'll spin it and you'll get them tight spots in it. So you back it in and out as needed. Like I said, you don't want it tight, but you don't want it loose either. You don't want no steering wheel play. So that's pretty much good there. I'm going to tighten that guy down. Hold this in place so I don't move it. Tighten this down. Tighten the back side down. So it's something, there's no, like, I don't know, maybe there is out there. Maybe Ross Steering Company actually has maybe there's a manual out there. There probably is, I'm sure. But this is pretty much just, I'm going to check that one more time. Because that was finger loose on that one. Oh yeah. Whoops. I said don't put it on the tube, but just don't kill it. Oh yeah, that's nice. Let's see there. Yep. Nice there. Yep. There we go. Tighten that up. 15/16. See, with them bearings, it helps a lot. Because there we go. There's no in and out play. And that bearing, them thrust bearings in there help a lot. Because normally, them nuts, or you'd have wherever the washer went, probably fell off. I didn't care, or wasn't even on there. But there's a washer on there. And that's just going to be friction. And, you know, I know they're not supposed to be tight, which is, you don't want them tight. But you're just relying on some grease to go in between that washer
and that nut. So if you put the bearing in there, you can actually snug up on it, and it work a lot better. And as you can see, that is nice, very smooth, very easy to operate, and that's what we're looking for. So we are ready for a install on that. So I hope you guys are enjoying all these videos. And let me get this thing straightened up here. All right, so I hope you guys are enjoying all the videos. I'm probably going to end up, I'll do a couple little bit more things on this tractor that will need addressed. Like I want to clean the fins out, put the guide choke cable on it. But I'm going to get into some odds and ends with it yet. I'm going to give him a call and see what else he wants to do with this tractor. But that's going to be the conclusion of like this, putting this column together. And I'm probably not going to take very many videos or segments of this video putting everything back together. You already seen it come apart. That's the hardest part. Putting it back together isn't so bad. You just play the video backwards. But anyhow, this is going to conclude everything for now. So I appreciate everybody. If you'd hit the like button, the thumbs up button, the share button, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your preacher, tell your priest, whatever. It helps the channel out, helps the videos out, gets them out there, helps everybody out with these Fords, Jacobson tractors. If you have any questions, you can leave a question below in the comments, but you can also reach out to me at FordJacobsonTractor@outlook.com. That's my email. I do have a very limited supply of parts for these machines, but I do have some. Very limited supply. I'm slowly, like I said before in the past video, slowly closing the business down. I don't have the website anymore, so it's just going to be word of mouth or whatever stuff I have on Facebook and that. So and YouTube. So everybody have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, whatever you prefer. Thank you.